What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Power Book 2, Season 2, Episode 1. So we are back for a new season of Power. We have Tariq and the crew. Okay, and we start this episode off. We're just seeing where everybody is. I guess this is the day after the murder. You know, we're starting immediately where we left off. Tariq is at his grandmama's house. He done fell asleep. He had a nightmare. I think Tariq is dealing with a little PTSD in this episode. I don't know. He keep flashing back to Jilla Jabari, and we even hear Ghost's voice in the background or whatever. Tariq keeps trying to get in touch with his mama. Now listen. You know, I'm torn between, is it inconsistent writing, or is it they're trying to remind us that Tariq is still a kid? Or a young adult, I should say. Like, no matter how ruthless he is, he's still like a young adult. Because, sir, your mama is in witness protection. She can't reach out to you. She can't call you. And I know y'all got this burner, and I guess you think that she gonna be able to have this burner. But, sir, I promise you, they probably took that phone from your mama as soon as they got her to where she's supposed to be. Now, that's not to say she'll never reach out to you again, but certainly not immediately. Like, no. So then he starts hearing his sister, you know, calling for him. She trying to burn the house down. She done set off the fire detector. He put the fire out with the baking soda. And she was like, well, how did you know to do that? And he was like, well, mama taught me. She taught me and whatever his sister's name was when we were kids. So then here come the grandmama, and the grandmama is like, you trying to burn my house down? Like, what's going on down here? And Tariq was like, I think she a little young to be cooking breakfast. She was like, what are you talking about? I cooked at her age. Your mama cooked at her age. She alright, you know. And then she goes back to bed, tells Tariq, you take her to school. Now, Yaz turns to Tariq and said, you know, I think Tariq said something about she been drinking or she smelled like alcohol or something. And Yaz was like, she's getting worse. Can't you do something about it? Like, take me with you, or can you stay here or something? Now, my thing is this. This is how I feel about this situation. I still don't understand how Tasha went into witness protection and didn't take her child. Like, I know we went through that last season, but it just don't make no sense to me. I don't care. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Shit just don't make no damn sense. Okay? And again, I don't know. Are we turning grandma into an alcoholic because she's dealing with everything she's dealing with and the fact that her daughter is gone now? Because let's be clear. We've never seen anything that would lend us to believe that her mama is an alcoholic. Like, where'd all this come from? Now all of a sudden she's alcoholic? Whatever. So then we go over to Monet's house. Now Monet, she upstairs and she done heard somebody break some glass, and you know she having flashbacks of killing her connect. So I guess she's nervous, a little paranoid. You know, she don't have her hitter no more because she done vanished. You know, her son, and that was her right hand. That was her hitter. So you know, we see her, you know, go in the safe and get her gun out. She come down them steps, and I guess after a season of Raquel, I'm just like, you know, we back to Monet child. But she goes downstairs and it's Drew. Drew done dropped the glass. Now Drew is alive. His arm is in a sling, and we find out later on in the episode that it is his hand that he writes with, because he tried to draw later on in the episode and he couldn't get it together. His mama bought him, you know, a new sketch pad and some new, you know, pencils and stuff like that. He couldn't get it together, so I'm sure. And he's angry. He's very angry. He blames his mama. And I think it's a combination of, I never really wanted to be in this life, and you kind of made me in this life, and I damn near got killed. You know, I think it's a combination between that level of anger and then just the circumstance, the situation. Like, how did we get here? Okay. Diana is telling him, you know, give mama a break. You know, she feels bad about what happened. You know, chill out, you know, ease up on mama a little bit. Then we run into Kane. He's with his new folks. The dude from the gang with the gold teeth. Oh Lord, what was his name? I forgot his name. And then we find this new character, Mecca, I believe his name is. Now Mecca is somebody they out here robbing with or whatever. Kane don't necessarily trust him, so he trying to grill him about who he know and do you know my dad and this, that, and the other. Because he like, I think you might be the popo. I think you might be the police. And then the old gang rolls up on them and about to kill them. Now, how they got caught without having guns, I don't know. But either way, old dude plays Superman. He takes the shotgun out of his hand, and they end up killing the dudes. And one of the guy in the car got away. He was the getaway driver. It was a GT. What was it? They called the GTGs or the GT something. Anyway, y'all know the game from last year, child. So once he shot old boy, Kanan was like, "Well, I guess he ain't I guess he ain't the feds. I guess he ain't the police, right?" Now later on in the episode, he calls Kanan. He done found the getaway driver, and he tells Kane, what you gonna do with him? Like, you can either take the easy way, you could take the hard way, or you could just kill him outright. What it is you need to do? And Kane's like, listen, say less. Like, you must not know who I am. Like, you don't know I'm a killer for real. Like, you don't know who I am. And he lets the dude out. He's like, listen, I don't need you to tie him up for me. He takes him out of the zip ties, and dude talking about something. Oh, you done made a mistake now. Yeah, right. Kane done killed this dude. He beat his ass, and then he broke his neck. He was like, now you see what kind of person I am. He was like, yep, now I guess I do. I guess. And then while Kane is cleaning up, he finds the dude's drug stash, which really is just sitting out in the open. Like, it ain't hidden or nothing. And of course, Kane, he walks up on Kane. He's like, like he gonna kill him. And I'm like, what you gonna kill him for? Like, your drugs was just sitting out in the open. Like, they wasn't hidden. Kane wasn't going through your shit. He wasn't going, he wasn't going to find, he didn't find some secret compartment or nothing. Like, what the hell? But he tells him, he was like, listen, I see you got a whole lot of work here, but you ain't got no soldiers. Like, I can help. Like, I know how to do this. I can help. And then later on in the episode, we see Kane go to Monet's house. Now, what made him think Monet was going to let him in the house? I have no idea. But I guess they do this breakup to make up kind of situation where they fight. She, tells him, you can't come home, and then he waits for her to calm down, and then it's all good, I guess. I don't know. But she wouldn't let him in this time, and he was really, like, shocked. Like, really? Like, for real, you're not going to let me in? But what we found out was that Mecca followed him there. Now, I don't know if Mecca followed him because he knows who Monet is, and he knew who Kane was, or if he's trying to figure it all out, put the pieces together, and he just following Kane to figure out who was who and what's what. I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Now, while all of this is going on, we got Davis, a.k.a. Method Man, a.k.a. Sexy AF. We know he done hired Sax, who is like a damn cat. He got 9 damn lives, okay? But he's trying to school Sax on the difference between working for the federal government as a attorney and being in private practice. He's talking to him about, how they going to make their money and the type of cases they got to take and the type of image they have to put out. And while they're talking, he gets a phone call from Tariq. Now, Tariq is like, listen, I need you to find my mama. He's like, your mom is in witness protection. Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, but I need to talk to her. Which, again, I go back to my earlier statement about the whole witness protection situation or whatever. But anyway, so he let Sax know, like, listen, this is what I'm talking about. Can you help me find his mama? And Sax was like, I mean, even if I could, I don't think it's a good idea. He was like, yeah, I'm not saying we got to actually find him. I just told him I would try. And we're going to bill him for every second that we think about helping him find his mama. Because, again, I'm showing you the difference between what we do and what you used to do. Okay? Now, basketball player is training, and the person he's training with is telling him maybe you need to play a little bit longer in college. You might not be ready to go into the draft just yet. We don't want you to rush that. You could get injured. You could blow your whole career. But of course, that becomes important because Monet has decided that she got an exit plan for the family to get out of the game. Well, what they're going to do is they're going to go from, selling drugs to taking care of Tariq in his career. They're going to become his manager, his do girl, do boy, towel boy, whatever. And like Drew is telling Monet, so basically he's going to become our product. Like, we're just switching drugs for him. And Drew has no interest in becoming Tariq's flunky. Am I saying? I'm not Tariq, because y'all know who I'm talking about. The basketball player, not Tariq. Y'all know who I'm talking He was like, I have no interest in becoming his flunky. Like, what the hell? Like, what we doing here? Now, back up to the school. We back on campus, and Tyreek, the person I'm really talking about, him and Braden are talking. Braden invites him to come away with him for the weekend with his family on a hunting trip. He talks about how, he ain't really trying to do it, but it's just like a family thing. It's like a rite of passage, and he's inviting Tyreek to come through. Tyreek was like, whatever, I ain't got nothing else to do. I ain't got nobody to kill this weekend. I guess I'll come through, And he goes to class, and of course he got to sit there and act like he don't know why professor ain't showing up. They outside, the classroom is still locked and everything. He got to act like he don't know what's going on because they ain't found the body yet. So they going into the classroom, and they have a whole conversation about ethics and about free will. And of course, it's one of those, y'all know how they did last season. Every time we had a classroom scene, it was like the theme of the episode. So, of course, this whole episode, we're talking about free will. Do you really have free will? Are things chosen for you? And, of course, Tyreek gives one of his, smart-ass, bullshit-ass answers once again. And while they're having this conversation, we see examples throughout of the different characters and whether they really have free will or not. We see Diana with her mama. She's trying to get this, thought dress. They out shopping, and her mama is like, girl, if you don't take that dress off and go about your damn business. And they are shopping down the mall. They the Fendi, the Louis Vuitton, and, everywhere else. And what they end up doing is they end up going to the bar and getting the drugs out of the safe at the bar, using the bags and the shoe boxes and the purse boxes from the mall that they just got finished shopping at. Kind of interesting how they did that, because, the odds of the cops stopping a bunch of women with some shopping bags thinking that it's drugs inside of the shoebox, slim to none. So that was actually kind of genius the way she did that. But it's showing that whole idea of free will and whether you have free will or not, again, like I said, it's just that whole debate. You born into something, can you decide whether you're going to do something or not? So, and of course, Tyreek is flashing back on killing Jabari and his dad and all of that, and, whether he had to do it or not, right? So then we see, on the way home, Monet wants to stop and get Drew a gift. That's when she buys him the sketch pad and the pencils and stuff like that. And Diana was like, we gonna stop and shop? Like, I got work in the car. We got work in the car. And she was like, you be all right. Like, I'm just gonna run in the store real quick. I gotta get something for Drew. Because remember, she's feeling guilty and it's her conscience, like, I gotta do something for my baby. So while she's coming out the store, the police roll up on Diana. And of course, she immediately jumps to worst case scenario. And she looking at her purse and she looking at her gun like she about to shoot up the block. But of course the police just are telling her to move her car along because she's probably parked illegally. And she sweet talks them. And when Monet gets in the car, she was like, what was that all about? She was like, oh, it was nothing. The police were just telling me I needed to move, but I did what you taught me. I smiled and I flirted. I made him think he could get some, and, it was okay. He forgot all about that. And I was like, I mean, we talked about that last season, but, I mean, we just teaching our daughter to be a hoe. Like, that's what we... Okay. Whatever, child. You might as well let her buy the damn dress at the store. I mean, if you're going to let her act like a thought, might as well let her dress like one, too. Anyway. Now, while this is going on, Tate is asleep on his brother's couch in the basement. Now, this is what I don't understand. Now, I remember from the last season ago, so he was living with his brother because he was in hiding and he was scared. But then the people that he was hiding from, they ended up killing, right? So why are you still sleeping on your brother's couch? But what we find out is that he lost the governor's race. And he's kind of in his feelings, he's kind of feeling sorry for himself. And his brother is like, okay, you might have lost the governor's race, but you're still a councilman. You still got a job. You still can make a difference. So, like, I'm going to need you to get up out your phone. I'm going to need you to get your shit together. And he's, telling him, basically, woe is me. I lost out. I didn't get what I was supposed to get. They doing me so wrong. And his brother was like, yeah, listen, I ain't trying to hear all of that. Get your shit together, figure it out. Figure out your next move, right? So next thing you know, we see Tate dressed up. He got his suit back on. He got his American flag pendant on his lapel, and he goes to visit the chairman of the DNC. He shows up at old boy's house. He opens up the door and he's like, "Really? You at my house? That's what we doing now?" And he was like, listen, I had an idea. I know what I want my next move to be." And old boy is looking at Tate like, "Bruh, you barely, like, the only reason why you got the Democratic nomination is because you sort of strong-armed us into it after Ghost died. But let's be clear. My dealings with you are done. Like, you ain't win. Go on back to your city council job and be happy." And he was like, "Well, I want the congressman's job." And he was like, I think his name is Harris. And he was like, "Bruh, that dude is, like, he is a staple. Like, he ain't moving out that seat, and ain't nothing gonna get him out that seat. It has to be a major scandal before the Democratic Party would not back him." And he was like, "Oh, okay, so if I can find some dirt on him, like, yeah, you gonna support me running against him?" He was like, "It has to be major. Like, it ain't no little small, little bullshit. It's gotta be something major for that to happen." So, of course, now, Tate is like, I'm back in the game. So, Brayden shows up at the house. He brings Tariq. And, of course, Tariq always knows how to dress the part, right? He looks good, looks nice, very respectable young man. Don't have one of his little bubble coat and stuff, And Brayden rolls up, and his daddy giving him a brand new Benz. And Brayden is like, "Yeah, I mean, this is all well and good or whatever, but, like, I'm just over the whole pretentiousness that is my family." And what we find out is that this whole weekend is, a tradition. It's all about the secret society. It's all about the fraternity. And, of course, Brayden's brother is not happy to see Tariq and not happy that Tariq is there because, we remember that, we know. And, of course, he makes little snide comments about Tariq not being there, not belonging or whatever. So we found out that this same congressman, Harris, the one that Tate wants to get out of his seat, he's going to try to find some dirt on. He's an old family friend, and he's going on the hunting trip with them. And they end up in a whole conversation with Tariq. And, of course, he makes these snide comments and these assumptions that Tariq is, like, there because of some sort of affirmative action situation, that Tariq can't possibly be smart enough to be at the school. And so, of course, Brayden lets them know, no, he's in the aeronautical, whatever that damn program is, and he's actually a really good student, and Tariq lets them know, listen, I'm not like some charity case. Like, my father's trust pays for, my tuition. And he was like, "Oh, well, who was your father?" And he was like, "St. James." And he was like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, I met your dad at a DNC, function. He was a really nice guy." He was like, "It's a shame about all those rumors that swirled around him after he died." And of course, Tariq was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Well, your dad, he was like, it's a shame that you lost your father at such a young age." And Tariq was like, "Yeah, well, it is what it is." Y'all know how Tariq can get. He could be a smart ass, but like an intelligent smart ass, which of course, they played that whole thing off, So they finally found Jabari's body. I don't know why it took them so long to find this man's body, but they found his body. And they did find the gun from the police officer that they killed, Ramirez, I believe it was. But of course, the cops were not, like, the detective on the case, he was only fooled for about 5 minutes. He was like, so basically what they want us to believe is that Ramirez killed him and then skipped town because can't nobody find Ramirez either. But why would he leave his gun? Like, he's smart enough to know not to leave his weapon. So I'm not really buying that. So this whole decoy that Tariq thought he was setting up, that they would go and think it was, Ramirez that did it, and that Ramirez is now missing. The police ain't buying it. They was never buying it. Like, they was never buying it. The detective that's in charge of the case, though, he does know, now I can't think of her name. Carrie. He does know Carrie, and he called Carrie to meet him for lunch. And Carrie's on the phone with her therapist talking about, oh my goodness, don't worry about it. I'm not, you don't have to worry about me sleeping with with my student anymore or Jabari, because I've one of my ex-boyfriends, he reached out to me. He's a police detective and he's a really good guy, and I think we're kind of moving on the right path. I'm kind of moving in the right direction. Like, she was all happy and everything, and when she met up with the dude, he was like, can you go somewhere with me? And he ends up taking her to the morgue to identify Jabari's body, which of course he's like watching her reaction and everything, and it's almost as if he like thought she was part of the as if she thought he was part of the that she killed him or something. And I was like, why would he like randomly think, like, on this big ass campus, why would he randomly feel like she had anything to do with this man dying? I don't know, it was weird. But of course she let him know the same thing, like, I don't have anything to do with this. Like, what are you talking about? Why would you suspect me? And she was like, I knew him. We used to, mess around, but we're not together now, And of course she's upset. She's distraught. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he was like, why are you apologizing? If you ain't do nothing or had nothing to do with it, why do you feel guilty? And I'm like, I feel like that's just something people normally say when you find out somebody died. What's the first thing somebody says? Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I don't think that was that far, but I just felt like he was grasping at straws. Like, I felt like he was kind of grasping, but okay. Brayden and Tariq have this whole moment where Tariq explains to him, Brayden explains to him why, that, his family, that he's, that he's really kind of over the whole pretentiousness of his family and the expectation of this whole, being a part of this elite white society. And that's why he likes dealing drugs with Tariq, because, it kind of, takes him away from that. And he feels like he's doing his own thing. And again, I've said this going back to Power, that this is just like a hobby for Brayden. This is fun and games for him. This isn't like, even though people try to compare him to Tommy, the difference is, though, Tommy needed that. Like Tommy came from the gutter. Whereas Brayden doesn't need this. He's doing it because it's exciting and it's fun and it's different and it's outside of the expectation of what his family wants him to do. But when he grows up and matures, he's gonna walk away from this shit. Anyway. And while they're having this conversation, the whole campus finds out about Jabari. Like, it's all over everybody's getting the alert on their phone or whatever. And of course, Monet gets the alert on her phone, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And I feel like because her nephew goes to that school, she probably linked up with whatever service they have. So she probably gets whatever alerts that are connected to that school. Because again, that's just kind of random. Like, that she would get the alerts, but whatever. So Tariq is in his dorm room, and old girl from his class comes by. She's all crying and upset about Jabari, and Tariq is like, and she says, "You act like that you're not even upset." And he was like, "Listen, in the past 2 years, I lost my daddy. My mama is in witness protection. My twin sister was murdered. My godfather is dead. My godmama is dead. Like, the list goes on and on and on." He was like, "I lost 2 of my best friends. Like, I don't have no tears for this dude I barely knew." Like, and I was like, you know what? When he puts it like that, I guess he right. Like, when you break it down like that, it's like, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from on that one, Tariq. You know what I mean? So then she was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't realize you had so much loss, in your life." And so they get to kissing or whatever, but then old Kane texts him and is like, "We need to meet up." So he meets up with Kane, and of course Kane is stressing out, like, everybody on campus is talking about Jabari, why, but they ain't saying nothing in the newspaper about, the detective doing it. You said it was going to work. What is wrong with you? And Tariq is like, "I'm going to need you to chill out. Like, wow, bruh, like, calm down. Like, it's going to work. But right now, I'm going to need you to calm down. Like, why are you stressing out? Like, you..." And of course, while he's there talking to Kane, Monet calls him and invites him to dinner. And Kane was like, "That's why she invited you to dinner, because she want to know what's up with the shooting. Like, she want to know if you got anything to do with it. So while he on his way to dinner, the basketball player that went to go see the professor, and of course they have sex because she a sex addict. They have sex, and when they get done, of course she's all distraught. And he was like, "Did I do something wrong?" And she was like, "No, but I'm just really worried. I'm really nervous because do you think this has anything to do with the gang member that was killed in the pool?" And he was like, "No, it don't have nothing to do with that." She was like, "You don't think it has nothing to do with your family?" And he was like, "No, they wouldn't do that." And she was like, "Well, your aunt did come and threaten my life." He was like, "She did what?" Yeah, she found out that we were sleeping together and she threatened to kill me. So, excuse me if I don't put nothing past your family at this point. And he was like, "No, they wouldn't do this though." So Tariq shows up for dinner, and of course Monet asks him, "You have anything to do with it? You know anything about it?" And of course Tariq looks her dead in her face and did what he does best, lie. And Drew brings up a good point later on when Diana said, "Well, do you think Tariq really doesn't know anything about it?" Drew was like, "Well, what was he supposed to say?" Like, the way she asked him the question, the only answer was no. Like, even if he knew anything about it, why would he admit it? Why would he say, "Yeah, I did that"? Like, who's doing that? So when they get done eating dinner, of course she's giving, Tariq his weight. She was like, "I got a new shipment. Are you good? Like, you think campus is too hot?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like, we can handle it." So of course he gets Braden to pick him up in his new Benz, and he got all the Fendi and the Gucci, and he's letting Braden know what's inside the Fendi and the Gucci bags. There was a moment between Tariq and Diana, but of course Mary J. Blige rolled in and she shut that thing down. Okay, she shut it down. So Braden is excited that they back on track. They end up going down to the hunting party, and the brother, who was a total asshole, he shot, like, they shot the deer, but the deer wasn't dead. And then the brother shot off another shot that went right past Tariq's head, and Tariq went off running. But again, I feel like that was a little PTSD. Like, I don't feel like it was necessarily I just feel like it was a little PTSD in the moment. But then they did the kill shot. The father was going to let Tariq do the kill shot because I guess that's some sort of great honor for him to do the kill shot. But then the brother came along and did the kill shot. Braden's brother. Braden did the kill shot. Sorry. And Tariq was like, "Yo, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not doing this with y'all crazy motherfuckers sitting out here in the cold, in the snow, shooting deer. Like, I'm out of here." Then we see Mary J. Blige talking to her nephew, telling him she needs him to go into the draft. And he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't think that's a good idea." She was like, "Okay, well, it's going to be a good idea. This is what you need to do. This is what it's time for you to do. So I'm gonna need you to put your big girl panties on, and we're going into the draft." And he was like, "Did you threaten Carrie?" She was like, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, I threatened her. And I meant it." And of course, probably not a good idea to let him know that y'all was doing the horizontal, Watusi a little while ago. But anyway, last but not least, we see Lorenz Tay back on the saddle. His brother comes in, happy to see it. Like, "I'm glad to see you getting back to your old self." And he was like, "Well, I need you to log into the police director," because remember Lorenz Tay was a former cop. His brother is still a cop. He was like, "I need you to log into the directory, because I need some information. I need to get all the information I can on the congressman." So the brother kind of giving him a side eye, but I guess he did it. I don't know. And then we have the introduction of our new character, Method Man's brother, aka Redman, who was in jail and he is sick, dying, or something. Now, I suspect it might be AIDS or cancer, because it's definitely something that, because he said, "I'm gonna get Sax is gonna help me get you out of here. Like, you're not dying in here." So I feel like whatever is wrong with Redman's character, whatever his illness is terminal, because he ain't say I'm gonna get you some good medical care because I know they not giving you the right medical care here. He said you're not dying in here. So I feel like it's either HIV or cancer. Anyway, but I'm sure we'll get all of those details as the season goes on. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Okay, y'all know it is always a lot in these power episodes. We know that book 2, in my estimation, I was almost going to forget. Tariq is still putting the battery in this burner phone, trying to get in touch with his mama, who, I don't know why you think your mama got that burner phone, and why he got the battery in. Somebody calls, and he actually answers the phone now. Luckily, he don't say nothing. He just answers the phone, and the person on the other end is the police detective, and he was like, this is, NYPD police, who am I calling? And of course, Tariq turns the phone off, takes the battery out, and he throws it away, like he throws it across the room, like that's gonna do something. But I guess in that short amount of time, they were able to trace the phone that it came from campus, which of course lets him know he already wasn't going down the rabbit hole thinking it was that cop, it was Ramirez, but now he really knows that that's not who it was, because he said he's calling from Jabari's phone. Now, why Jabari was calling Tariq's burner phone last season, I don't know. I don't remember, and I'm not going back to find out. But suffice to say he was, and they know that phone number came from a phone that pinged off of campus, and that's the last person Jabari talked to. Okay? Okay. That's it. That's all. Let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.